The massive research vessel hummed with an eerie silence as Dr. J. Park stood motionless in the scanning chamber. Alien researchers moved around him, their translucent appendages flickering with curiosity. Professor Rin Kwon, the lead xenobiologist, adjusted complex scanning equipment that looked more like intricate crystal sculptures than scientific instruments. Jay watched carefully, his dark eyes tracking every movement. He knew this was humanity's first comprehensive biological examination by an advanced alien civilization. The Kyrian research team had spent months observing human transmissions and studying distant records, but this was their first direct interaction. "Interesting," muttered Professor Kwon, his translator device creating a soft mechanical echo. "Your cellular structure demonstrates remarkable complexity." The scanning beam passed through Jay's body, creating holographic images that danced with colors humans could never perceive. Each layer revealed something unexpected: adaptive genetic markers, regenerative cellular patterns, and biological mechanisms that seemed to defy conventional scientific understanding. Around Jay, 3 other alien researchers moved silently. Their bodies were thin and elongated, with skin that shifted between transparent and silvery blue. Unlike human researchers who would be taking notes or speaking, these aliens communicated through subtle electrical impulses and complex hand movements. Professor Kwon tapped a crystalline interface, and multiple holographic screens materialized. Each screen showed a different aspect of Jay's biological composition. His DNA, cellular structure, neurological pathways, all were displayed in intricate, swirling patterns that looked more like abstract art than scientific data. "Your reproductive cells," Kwon suddenly announced. "They demonstrate an extraordinary adaptive mechanism, almost like a microscopic survival algorithm." Jay raised an eyebrow. He had been briefed about maintaining composure during this examination, but the alien statement caught him off guard. "Is that unusual?" he asked, trying to sound casual. The alien researchers exchanged a series of rapid hand signals. Their communication was so fast that even the most advanced translation device would struggle to capture its nuance. "Among known galactic species," Professor Kwon explained, "your cellular regeneration and adaptive potential is unprecedented. Your body doesn't just heal, it learns and transforms." The scanning chamber felt increasingly strange. Advanced, holographic projections surrounded Jay, creating a 3-dimensional map of his internal systems. What looked like streams of liquid light moved through representations of his organs, neurons, and genetic structure. One junior researcher, whose name tag read Kira, moved closer to the holographic display. Her movements were fluid, almost dance-like. She traced a delicate finger along a complex genetic sequence, her eyes widening with what seemed like excitement. "The mutation potential is extraordinary," she whispered, her translator rendering her alien language into clear English. Jay knew he was part of something significant. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, a comprehensive biological examination by an advanced alien civilization. Every movement, every scan was a diplomatic dance, a chance to demonstrate human potential. Professor Kwon continued his examination, occasionally making sounds that seemed like a mix between a hum and a click. His equipment recorded every microscopic detail, creating records that would be studied by researchers across multiple star systems. "Your species," Kwon finally said, turning to face Jay directly, "represents a fascinating biological anomaly. You are not just an organism. You are a complex, adaptive system." The statement hung in the air, part scientific observation, part philosophical revelation. Outside the scanning chamber, through massive viewports, the infinite darkness of space stretched endlessly. Distant stars twinkled, silent witnesses to this extraordinary moment of first biological contact. Jay Park stood still, understanding that this examination was more than a scientific procedure. It was humanity's first real introduction to a broader, more complex galactic community. Every scan, every observation was a conversation, a way of saying, "This is who we are. This is what makes us unique." As the scanning beam made its final Past creating one last intricate holographic representation of human biology, something profound was being communicated, not just through words or data, but through the very essence of human biological complexity. The research laboratory buzzed, with quiet intensity, as Captain Sung Kim reviewed the latest data streams. Holographic displays flickered with complex genetic sequences, revealing layers of human biological mysteries that left the alien research team both confused and amazed. Professor Rin Kwon stood beside a massive data projection, his fingers tracing intricate genetic patterns. "Look at this," he said to his junior researchers. "Human DNA is not just a code, it's a living, adaptive system." Jay Park watched from a nearby observation area, feeling both curious and slightly uncomfortable. He understood he was more than just a test subject. He was a representative of humanity's biological potential. The genetic scan revealed something extraordinary. Unlike other known species, human DNA appeared to have built-in adaptive mechanisms that could rapidly respond to environmental challenges. Where most species would take thousands of generations to develop a genetic adaptation, humans seemed capable of triggering biological changes within a single lifetime. "Your cells don't just repair," Kwon explained to Jay. "They learn. They modify themselves based on external stimuli." A junior researcher named Kira pulled up a comparative chart. On one side, standard alien genetic structures remained rigid and unchanging. On the human side, the genetic map looked like a living, breathing network. Lines connecting and reconnecting, creating new pathways almost constantly. "It's like your DNA is writing and rewriting its own software in real time," Kira muttered, her translation device rendering her alien language into clear English. Jay found the explanation both fascinating and slightly unsettling. He had always known humans were adaptable, but seeing his genetic potential displayed so clinically made the experience feel surreal. The research team began discussing their findings. Complex hand movements and electrical signal exchanges happened rapidly between them, too quick for most translation devices to capture fully, but their body language suggested a mix of excitement and mild concern. "Potential survival mechanism," one researcher noted. "Unprecedented genetic flexibility." Captain Sung Kim approached Jay, her professional demeanor softened by genuine scientific curiosity. "Do you understand what we're discovering?" she asked. Jay shrugged. "Not really. I'm just me." The simple response made the alien researchers chuckle. Their translation devices rendered his casual statement into something that felt both profound and amusing. Further analysis revealed more stunning details. Human immune systems didn't just fight infections, they remembered them, creating complex defense mechanisms that could be passed down genetically. Muscle memory, environmental adaptations, even psychological experiences seemed to leave molecular markers that could influence future genetic expressions. "Your species doesn't just survive," Professor Kwon said. "You evolve in real time." The laboratory felt charged with an electric sense of discovery. Each scan, each data point, challenged everything the alien researchers thought they knew about biological development. Kira pulled up a visualization showing how human genetic structures responded to stress. Where other species might break or remain unchanged, human DNA appeared to twist, reshape, and create new cellular strategies almost instantaneously. "It's like watching living mathematics," she whispered. Jay listened, understanding little but feeling the weight of the moment. He represented something more than just an individual. He was a walking example of human potential. The research continued through artificial day and night cycles. Star systems moved outside massive laboratory windows, silent and distant. But inside this controlled environment, something revolutionary was being understood. Humanity was not just another species. They were a dynamic, living algorithm of biological potential. As hours passed, the alien research team compiled their initial findings. Complex reports were drafted, each page challenging previous galactic understanding of evolutionary biology. Professor Kwon looked at Jay, a strange mix of scientific excitement and professional respect in his eyes. "You," he said simply, "are remarkable." J. Park simply smiled. To him, it was just another day of being human, adaptable, curious, and always ready to surprise the universe. The genetic revelation was just beginning, and humanity's true potential remained a mystery waiting to be fully understood. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Yuna Lee stepped forward. Her presentation materialized around her, holographic displays showing humanity's most groundbreaking technological innovations, each directly linked to their unique biological adaptations. "Observe," she said calmly, her voice steady and clear. The first projection showed a medical nanite system developed from human cellular regeneration mechanisms. Where traditional medical technologies required weeks or months of treatment, these nanites could restructure damaged tissue in minutes, adapting to each unique biological system with remarkable precision. Professor Rin Kwon watched from the side, his alien features displaying a mix of scientific excitement and professional restraint. He knew this presentation would change everything the galactic community understood about technological development. The next display revealed adaptive environmental suits. Unlike standard protective gear used by other species, these suits weren't just protective barriers. They were living systems that could read and respond to the wearer's physiological changes, adjusting temperature, pressure, and chemical protection in real time. "Our technology doesn't just protect," Ambassador Lee explained. "It learns and evolves." Delegates from various star systems shifted uncomfortably. Some looked impressed, others looked threatened. A holographic representation showed how human engineers had developed communication systems based on their own neural adaptive networks. These systems could predict communication challenges, translate complex linguistic patterns, and even anticipate potential misunderstandings before they occurred. J. Park, seated in the observation area, felt a strange mix of pride and anxiety. He understood this presentation was more than a technical demonstration. It was humanity's statement to the galaxy. The technological implications went beyond simple innovation. Each system demonstrated a core human characteristic, the ability to adapt, learn, and transform rapidly. An agricultural technology projection showed crop development systems that could modify seed genetics within planetary environments in real time. Where other species required decades of careful terraforming, humans could create sustainable agricultural systems in months. Biological potential becomes technological innovation, Ambassador Lee continued. Professor Kwon leaned towards a fellow researcher. "They're not just solving problems," he whispered. "They're reimagining solutions." The next demonstration revealed planetary exploration equipment. Unlike rigid robotic systems used by other civilizations, these were flexible, self-repairing mechanisms that could analyze and adapt to unknown environments almost instantaneously. Alien delegates began whispering among themselves. The implications were clear. Humanity represented an unpredictable, rapidly evolving technological force. A complex energy generation system appeared next. It wasn't just about collecting power. This system could read environmental conditions, predict energy needs, and redistribute resources with unprecedented efficiency. "We don't just consume resources," Ambassador Lee stated. "We understand and optimize them." The chamber temperature seemed to drop. Some delegates looked uncomfortable. Others looked genuinely fascinated. The massive circular chamber of the Galactic Diplomatic Council trembled with unspoken tension. Representatives from 12 different star systems sat in carefully arranged positions, their collective gaze fixed on a single holographic projection of Earth. Professor Rin Kwon stood at the center, his alien features reflecting a mix of scientific passion and diplomatic urgency. "Humans are not a threat," he argued. "They are a remarkable evolutionary phenomenon." But not everyone agreed. The Zarkonian delegate, a towering crystalline being, raised multiple appendages in protest. "Their adaptive capabilities represent an unprecedented risk." The translator rendered its complex language into sharp, calculated words. "One species with such rapid biological and technological evolution could destabilize entire galactic power structures. Ambassador Yuna Lee remained calm. She understood this moment was more than a diplomatic meeting. It was a judgment of humanity's potential. Jay Park watched from a restricted observation area, feeling the weight of an entire species' future, balanced on diplomatic negotiations. The chamber's environmental controls seemed to pulse with nervous energy. Consider their recent technological demonstrations, argued the Quantum Collective representative. Its form constantly shifted, representing multiple consciousness states. Their neural adaptive networks suggest potential consciousness expansion beyond current galactic understanding. The Mineral Coalition delegate remained silent, its rocky form suggesting careful contemplation. When it finally spoke, its voice resonated like distant earthquakes. Unpredictability doesn't always mean danger. Professor Kwon presented scientific data. Holographic displays showed human genetic adaptations, technological innovations, and biological potential. Each projection revealed something extraordinary, a species capable of transforming challenges into opportunities with remarkable speed. They learn, Kwon emphasized, not just as individuals but as a collective intelligence. The chamber grew colder. Some delegates leaned forward, others pulled back. The diplomatic dance was delicate, balanced between curiosity and concern. A junior diplomatic assistant whispered something to the Zarkonian representative. The crystalline being's form flickered, suggesting internal communication networks were processing the information rapidly. Their quantum computing potential, the Zarkonian finally stated, suggests they could potentially decode complex galactic communication networks within decades, not centuries. Ambassador Lee understood the underlying message. It wasn't just about technological capability, it was about potential disruption. Jay observed how each alien representative processed information differently. The Quantum Collective seemed to absorb data through multiple consciousness states. The Mineral Coalition considered long-term geological implications. The Zarkonian delegation evaluated potential strategic threats. Isolation is not the answer, Professor Kwon argued. Engagement and controlled interaction offer better understanding. The diplomatic tension was palpable. Humanity's fate hung. In a delicate balance, would they be seen as potential partners or potential threats? A holographic timer appeared, marking diplomatic session duration. Each species had limited time to present arguments, counter-arguments, and potential resolutions. The Mineral Coalition surprisingly spoke next. Every evolutionary leap requires adaptation from surrounding systems, its rocky voice suggested. Humanity might represent that necessary evolutionary pressure. Ambassador Lee remained composed. She knew this meeting could determine humanity's galactic standing for generations. Jay felt his heart racing. He understood he was witnessing a moment that would be recorded in human history, the first comprehensive galactic diplomatic assessment of humanity's potential. Professor Kwon's final argument was simple, yet powerful. They are not a problem to be solved, he said. They are a phenomenon to be understood. The chamber fell silent. Diplomatic decisions would take time, but something had changed. Humanity was no longer just another species. They were a potential variable in the complex galactic equation. As the session concluded, unspoken questions remained. Would humanity be welcomed, controlled, feared? The galaxy waited and watched. The research station hung in deep space, a silent witness to an extraordinary moment. Dr. Jay Park stood before a complex quantum entanglement problem that had baffled galactic scientists for generations. Surrounding him, alien researchers watched with a mixture of skepticism and hope. Professor Rin Kwon leaned forward, his alien eyes tracking every subtle movement Jay made. The quantum puzzle was more than a scientific challenge. It was a test of human potential. Days earlier, the Galactic Council had been divided. Some wanted to isolate humanity. Others saw potential. This moment would determine everything. Jay's fingers moved across holographic interfaces. Unlike machine calculations, his approach was different. He wasn't just solving the problem. He was understanding it, feeling its complexity, seeing patterns, where others saw only chaos. The quantum problem involved interconnected molecular structures, across multiple dimensional planes. Previous attempts by advanced alien civilizations had failed spectacularly. Mathematical models collapsed, predictive algorithms broke down, but Jay was human, and humans approached problems differently. He began sketching something that looked like a combination of mathematical equations and artistic design. The alien researchers exchanged confused glances. This wasn't standard scientific approach. This was something else entirely. Professor Kwon noticed something extraordinary happening. Jay wasn't just calculating, he was interpreting. His brain was processing information through intuitive leaps that defied conventional scientific understanding. Suddenly, the holographic display shifted. Complex quantum entanglement patterns began resolving themselves. What had been an impossible mathematical challenge started taking shape. The research station went silent. "How?" whispered a junior researcher, her translation device struggling to capture her mix of shock and excitement. Jay simply smiled. "Sometimes," he said, "you need to look at a problem sideways." The quantum puzzle wasn't just solved, it was transformed. Jay had discovered a fundamental approach that opened entirely new mathematical and scientific possibilities. Alien researchers began reviewing the solution. Each review confirmed what seemed impossible, a complete resolution to a problem that had challenged multiple advanced civilizations for centuries. Professor Kwon understood this was more than a scientific breakthrough. This was a statement about human potential. Intuition, creativity, and adaptive thinking had accomplished what pure computational power could not. News traveled quickly through galactic communication networks. The quantum resolution became more than a scientific achievement. It was a diplomatic game changer. The Galactic Council reconvened. Previous tensions about humanity's potential began transforming. Where there had been fear, now curiosity emerged. Where there had been concern, now respect grew. Ambassador Yuna Lee watched the proceedings, understanding the profound shift happening. Humanity was no longer being evaluated as a potential threat. They were being recognized as a unique scientific partner. "Remarkable," Professor Kwon said, reviewing the data again. "Absolutely remarkable." The quantum solution revealed something deeper about human capabilities. It wasn't about raw computational power. It was about seeing connections others missed, about approaching challenges with creativity and intuition. Alien delegates began discussing collaboration possibilities, research exchanges, joint exploration missions. The diplomatic landscape was changing rapidly. Jay Park remained humble. To him, this was just another problem to be solved. He didn't understand the larger implications of his breakthrough, but the galactic community understood. Humanity represented something extraordinary, a species capable of transforming challenges into opportunities through unique cognitive approaches. The research station continued its silent orbit. Outside, stars moved, galaxies turned, and something fundamental had changed in the universe's understanding of intelligent life. Humanity had arrived, not through military might, not through technological superiority, but through something far more powerful. The ability to see the world differently. Professor Kwon looked at Jay and smiled. The human didn't just solve problems, he reimagined them, and that, more than anything, would change everything. Jay noticed how each technological demonstration connected directly to human biological capabilities. Their medical innovations reflected cellular regeneration. Their communication systems mimicked neural adaptability. Their environmental technologies were extensions of human survival instincts. The final projection showed something truly remarkable, a quantum computing system that didn't just process information. It learned, predicted, and evolved its own computational strategies based on complex problem-solving scenarios. "Our technology is alive," Ambassador Lee said simply. Professor Kwon couldn't help but smile. Humanity wasn't just presenting technology. They were demonstrating a fundamental approach to problem-solving that challenged every existing galactic technological paradigm. As the presentation concluded, the silence was deafening. Some delegates looked concerned, others looked excited. But everyone understood one thing: humanity had just changed the technological conversation. Jay Park watched as Ambassador Lee completed her presentation. She hadn't just shown technology. She had shown potential. The galaxy would never be the same.